Welcome to Experiments in Happiness with Michelle Lemus, the podcast for high achieving women who've checked all the boxes but still feel something's missing.
Have you ever picked up your phone to check one tiny thing? Just one. And then suddenly it's 40 minutes later, you're five strangers deep on Instagram. You somehow know a stranger's dog's name and vacation plans, and you honestly cannot remember why you picked up your phone in the first place? Yeah, me too. And I want to start here because this isn't a self control issue. It's not a discipline problem. It's not that you're doing life wrong. Our devices were supposed to make life easier. Instead, they feel like overeager toddlers tugging on our sleeves every 8 seconds. Look at this. Respond to that. Don't forget this. Just one more thing. And women, especially high achieving women, get hit hard. Because our phones aren't just for scrolling or entertainment, they're calendars, school notifications, group chats, Slack channels, work emails labeled urgent that somehow never are. Reminders that we're overdue for something, lists we're supposed to remember, responsibilities we're already carrying. So even when we're resting, we're not really resting, we're reacting. And that constant reaction state is quietly draining the joy out of our days, not in a dramatic way, in a slow, cumulative way. The kind that leaves you feeling tired even on days when you technically didn't do that much. And for a long time, I thought something was wrong with me. Why did I feel frazzled? Why did I feel behind? Why did I feel like my attention was always scattered, even when my calendar wasn't that full? But here's what I've learned. Digital overwhelm isn't actually about the amount of information coming at us. It's about the constant pull on our attention. Every notification, every vibration, ping, banner, badge forces your brain into a micro decision. Do I check this now? Ignore it. What if it's important? What if someone needs me? Even that tiny gear shift costs energy. And when you do that hundreds of times a day, and yes, the average is over 200, you end up exhausted without ever being able to point to why. This is why you can have a day where you didn't do anything particularly hard and still feel depleted. We talk about time management like it's a calendar problem, but it's not. It's an attention problem. And your attention, that's sacred real estate. The hardest part about putting the phone down isn't that we don't want to, it's that everything about modern technology is designed to make not picking it up feel uncomfortable. This is important, so I want to say it clearly. This is not because you're weak or addicted or bad at boundaries. Brilliant engineers get paid very well to study how to keep your attention just a little longer. One more scroll, one more refresh, one more click. This isn't a character flaw, it's architecture. And honestly, knowing that is freeing because when you stop blaming yourself, you can start changing the environment instead. I remember the moment this really hit me. It was a random weekday morning. Nothing dramatic had happened. But I realized I hadn't done a single thing that day because I chose it. I'd responded to messages, answered emails, checked notifications, handled other people's needs. But I hadn't moved my body intentionally. I hadn't thought a complete thought. I hadn't done anything that felt like me. It felt like I was living life in the passenger seat of my own brain. And if you know me at all, you know that when something feels off, my instinct isn't to spiral, it's to run an experiment. So I asked myself a really simple question. What would my day feel like if I reclaimed my time from my phone? Even just a little, not forever, not dramatically, not with a digital detox retreat in the woods, just a little. And the answer surprised me. It didn't feel perfect. It didn't feel peaceful all the time. I didn't suddenly become enlightened, but it felt more mine. And that feeling, that's what we're chasing here, not productivity, not control, ownership. So I want to invite you into an experiment, and I want to be clear about the tone of this. This is not about rejecting technology. I love technology. I rely on it. It runs my business. It keeps my family organized. It reminds me to drink water like an adult. This is about right sizing its role in your life. Your phone is a tool, it's not the boss. And right now, for many of us, it's quietly acting like one. So here's the experiment. For 1 week, you're going to reclaim 60 minutes of your attention each day. Not more, not all day, just 60 minutes. You choose the window. Any hour of the day where you put your phone in another room. Not on silent in your pocket, not face down next to you, another room, notifications off, email closed, social apps untouched. And if you're wondering when the best time to do this is, mornings are magic. Not because you're more disciplined, but because you haven't yet been pulled into reaction mode. That first hour sets the tone for everything that follows. But pick what works for you. Then, and this part matters, you protect that hour like a meeting with the most important person in your life. Because it is. No negotiating, no just checking quickly, no multitasking. And here's the part people usually overthink. What do you do during that time? Anything that feeds you, not impresses anyone else, not advances a metric, not proves anything. Something that feeds you. Maybe you journal, maybe you walk, maybe you make breakfast slowly, maybe you read a physical book, maybe you work on something that's been sitting quietly in your heart, maybe you do absolutely nothing. That's allowed too. The point is not productivity. The point is choice. And then this is where the magic actually happens. You observe, how do you feel before that hour? How do you feel after? What comes up emotionally? What feels uncomfortable? What feels relieving? Write it down if you can. Patterns will emerge faster than you expect. What most people discover is not that they suddenly have tons of extra time. It's that their nervous system settles, their thoughts slow down, creative ideas start showing up uninvited. They remember what actually matters to them. They're calmer with their people. They realize they don't care about most of what was pulling on their attention. And here's the most interesting part. When you stop feeding your attention to random digital demands, your inner voice gets louder, not the critical one, the real one, the one that's been drowned out by noise. This experiment isn't about being anti-technology. It's about being pro-presence. You're allowed to take your attention back. You're allowed to protect your peace. You're allowed to decide what gets access to your energy. Reclaiming your time isn't about rigid rules or discipline. It's about finally feeling like your life belongs to you again. And that's happiness. Not the loud kind, the grounded kind, the kind that says, I'm here. This is mine. I choose this. So try it, just 7 days, 60 intentional minutes, and then notice what opens up. More clarity, more ease, more space, more joy. Because one of the quiet truths of happiness is this: it's not something you add to your life, it's something that returns when you stop giving yourself away in tiny, unnoticed pieces.
Thanks for listening to Experiments in Happiness. You can find more tools and resources at experimentsinhappiness.com.